Everyone who breaks out of prison is digging tunnels. But this group of people is opening a skylight. They first chiseled with a hammer, then use a saw to saw. Careful and cautious, they also collected the residue in a centralized manner. I thought everything was going smoothly. Result next second. Looking at the big hole above my head, everyone panicked. They must find a way to block the entrance immediately, because the prison guards downstairs have already started their rounds, so the teammates immediately split up and took action. Paul Ma and Big Beard to collect eggs. The singer went to various cells to search for big posters. The two people left upstairs are responsible for tidying up the scattered bricks. Subsequently, they tore the newspaper into pieces, pour in clean water and stir until crushed. Bring back the eggs from your teammates again. Throw it all in one fell swoop. Simultaneously mix a certain proportion of lime powder. Finally, pour in the sand and mix thoroughly. Subsequently, glasses drilling through the hole. Climb up to the ceiling. Looking at the scene before us, he was stunned. I never thought about it before. There's such a large mezzanine above the cell. This is just a natural storage bin. But at this moment, the top priority is to deal with the inspection first. So he immediately picked up the freshly made mud ball. Press it into squares. Shape. Just the right size. Can block the opening. Finally, lay a beautiful poster outside the entrance of the cave. Here, the prison guards have arrived on the second floor. Everyone quickly cleaned themselves up. When the guards opened the door, a few people calmly walked out of the room. Listen to the various smashing sounds in the room. The few people outside can only pretend to be calm. Subsequently, a prison guard climbed up the second floor, tear off the poster stuck on the wall. However, when he reaches the most critical piece, but suddenly it stopped. Yeah, me too. That's it. They successfully avoided a disaster. After this incident, several people have decided to redesign their escape plan. Big Beard is tapping on the wall with a wooden stick. The sound is clear and resonant, indicates that the wall is relatively thin. As long as we can dig through the wall, there's a chance to escape. Subsequently, he chose the most secluded place. It's not easy to find a hole from here. Just make another backup interlayer. Can evade the prison guard's surprise inspection, and the excavated muck can just be hidden in the interlayer on the roof of the building. Finalize the plan. Action officially begins. First, use a tape measure to measure the size of Dahudzu, then hand over the saw blade to Rameshego. He turned around and mixed the paste with plaster himself. Ensure that the color of the paste can cover the cutting gaps, and they can only start construction during the day, because the mezzanine is like a speaker. Working at night is not feasible. In the following days, singers are responsible for playing outside every day. Turn the radio volume to maximum inside the house. Cover up the noise of chiseling walls. They loaded the excavated soil into their backpacks, all transported from the entrance to the mezzanine. At night, block the entrance with a wall. Seal the cutting edge with a clip. A few people happily did two of them. Jump. However, measure with a tape measure. But I found out that I had only dug a distance of less than 2 meters. So they decided to expand the team. Find a helper. The man saw through the corner of the wall. Remove a gypsum model. As the fake wall slowly moves away, everyone was stunned. There is actually a half-meter wide hole hidden inside. This is the escape passage dug by Lama and others. At first they only had 5 people to work for 2 months. But I only dug less than 2 meters, so they decided to expand the team. Recruitment of personnel. They selected trustworthy individuals from over 100 political prisoners. To accelerate efficiency, they have formulated a detailed escape agreement. Implement a rotation system for everyone in groups. 4 shifts per day, 2 hours each time. They have to dig and carry 100 kilograms of soil every day, and then hide the residue in the interlayer. At the end, all the soil on the body must be cleaned up. Even the nail seams are not spared. Otherwise, it may expose oneself. Meanwhile, to reduce the risk of being caught, they connected the various buildings, convenient transportation of waste soil, and while doing a good job in division of labor, also familiarize yourself with the patrol area and shift time of each prison guard. High intensity of shift work. It's very tiring. But we cannot forget our daily affairs either. Even if it's tiring, you have to behave normally too. If you want to recruit new people, just write down the recommendation list. Only after passing the inspection can one join the escape plan. So it went on in an orderly manner. 6 months. The tunnel is already halfway through. It's time to seek external assistance. Hence, Rama utilizes visitation time. Tell their demands to their wife. I hope my wife can help organize external reception. But the risk of doing so is high. Wife hesitates repeatedly. Finally, I decided to take a risk, but I haven't waited for my wife to return the message yet. The situation has changed, due to the killing of a government police officer by fellow party members outside. So the warden ordered a major search of the prison. Prison guards stormed into the prison and smashed them recklessly. Drive all prisoners outside. And at this point, 2 companions are working in the tunnel. See this situation? Companions immediately return to report. Due to the increase in tunnel length, the innermost person hasn't crawled out yet. To buy time for peers, Rama stood up decisively. He led a dozen people to be scuffled together by prison guards. The scene was once chaotic. Meanwhile, The two people inside are quickly cleaning the venue. In the end, they manage to secure the tunnel. But the leader, Rama, was locked in a small dark room. A few months later, my wife has finally formed an external reception team. However, Rama was sentenced to death, and the process has already begun. There's not much time left for the escape team. This is the largest and most shocking prison break in Chilean history. 49 prisoners took 567 days. 55 tons of transferred waste soil, successfully excavated an 80-meter-long tunnel. With the meticulous cooperation of the escape team, the tunnel project has progressed by more than half. As the length of the tunnel increases, new problems have also emerged. Due to insufficient air at the end of the tunnel, causing hypoxia and fainting among team members. Thanks to Rama's timely discovery, Just rescued him. For this thorny issue, Glasses came up with a solution. But there is a lack of production materials in the prison, so Rama used visitation, asked the wife to bring plastic film and leaves from outside, get another engine from the member in charge of the hardware department, then install the blades on the engine, put it in the bucket. Finally, the long plastic film was used to transmit air into the tunnel for the escape operation. This is just can continue. As the distance continues to lengthen, a row of small light bulbs were pulled up in the dim tunnel. However, one wave hasn't flattened, another wave has risen again. This day, they suddenly experienced an earthquake while working, severe shaking of the ground. All prisoners immediately ran to the playground and gathered in the tunnel. The three members who came out late, although they managed to cope with the investigation due to sprains, but it still aroused the suspicion of the prison guards. That night, so they captured the prisoner, Amin, threatening him with his family to investigate information. So the next day Amin applied to join the prison escape team. But when Rama saw the high-end cigarette in his hand, I instantly understood everything. Although they have temporarily emerged from the crisis, but the tunnel can't withstand any shaking either. They must accelerate their movements. A few days later, the action has finally progressed to the next step. Detect the position of the tunnel endpoint on the ground. They first drilled a thin pipe out of the ground. Using a syringe, push out a tube of red ink marking. Subsequently, foreign aid members will check the specific location. However, unfortunately, the tunnel deviated from the planned route, and currently, it's still 12 meters away from the original location. They can only correct the route, accelerate excavation speed. Finally, on the 567th day, the tunnel was completely completed. That very evening, they used their time watching movies, get rid of the surveillance of prison guards coming to the tunnel entrance. Xia Shui is responsible for verifying the list. Everyone enter the tunnel in batches. Here, the prison guards outside are still immersed in watching the movie, and the underground escape operation is underway in full swing. In a few minutes, Amin inside the house finally discovered something unusual. He rushed out of the house in a hurry, but was stopped by an old man in a wheelchair. He gave up leaving due to physical reasons. In order to buy time for the escape team, he stopped Amin to the death. But in the end, he was still pushed to the ground. Meanwhile, in addition to the small handsome who counted the list in the room, all other members have entered the tunnel. Just as he changed his clothes and was about to leave, Amin rushed in order to prevent the escape from being disrupted. Xiosai can only desperately stop Amin. At this point, the members of the first team have climbed to the end of the tunnel. After the foreign aid personnel broke through the last barrier, successfully arrived on the ground. Subsequently, other teams also drilled out of the ground in sequence. All members line up, follow the planned route to the foot of the bridge, wait until the shuttle bus arrives. Everyone quickly get in the car, meet Xiosai, delayed arrival. Bearded decided to go back to pick him up. Little did one know, when Xiao Shui was fighting with Amin, inadvertently stabbed, the arm is no longer able to enter the tunnel. Helplessness. Lama and others can only set off with tears in their eyes. When the prison guards find out, the bus has already left the town. This film is adapted from real events. This prison holds 120 political prisoners. A total of 49 people successfully escaped from prison, and these prisoners are not the most heinous villains either. They are brave warriors who oppose dictatorship, is a pioneer in advocating democracy and freedom. Final. These escaped people, some have gone out of the National Bureau of Statistics, some people hide their names, continue to fight for faith,